What a great way to start off a series, I tell you. The animation is beautiful, the characters are great, and they did a good job of not throwing too much at you in the first episode. Hunter x Hunter, Episode 1, Departure and Friends. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you the first of many in our Hunter x Hunter 2011 anime series of reviews. Certainly, this is something I've been looking forward to getting into, and although I have a full plate schedule-wise, I'm always looking to add more things and pick up on new things, and at the recommendation of many of you, as well as other colleagues and just friends in the YouTube anime community, I have finally broken down and decided that I'd actually make some good use of my Crunchyroll subscription that I've had since I was doing the Attack on Titan reviews 3 or 4 months ago. So definitely looking forward to getting into this. I looked up a little bit of a background as far as the animation studio Madhouse. They've done a number of great things. Many of you are familiar with them, and really are a top-notch studio as far as animation-wise. And you can tell that, even just in the first episode that I watched at this point, you can tell the frame rate doesn't seem to stutter and drop as bad as some other anime does. The colors are vibrant. The voices for that. Now, I'm watching the English subtitles, so I have the original, the original voices of the Japanese voice actors, and I think the voice acting is very solid, and certainly just overall impression is a very positive one for me for a first episode. Now, the basic recap on the episode is we start out and it opens up on this whale island, and we're introduced to our main character, Gon, and he's out fishing. And we find out through just kind of a monologue over here that he has been tasked with I guess his aunt, I'm assuming this isn't like an aunt or some type of parental figure, but it doesn't seem like it's his mother, Mido-san. Gon wanted to enter, he wants to take the Hunter exam, right? Which we don't know a lot about or what it is at this point. I don't, anyway. And his aunt said, well, you can't participate in it until you can catch the Lord of the Lake, which is this giant fish. We find out that his father, Ging, who went off to become a hunter, that he wound up catching the Lord of the Lake, or he was the last person to catch the Lord of the Lake. We find out that also that there was 5 other full-grown adults that could not bring this thing in. Obviously it's very strong. And we see very quickly that Gon is a very intelligent, a very forward-thinking type of person, because as he goes and gets this on his fishing line, this Lord of the Lake, and it's pulling on him, and he realizes that he doesn't have just the brute strength to pull it in, he starts using the method of like a pulley system. Every time you run a cable through a pulley, whatever weight you're picking up, it actually halves the weight. And obviously through multiple pulleys, you can wind up picking up something much heavier than a normal person could just by using that counterweight, counterbalance system. So that's what he does. He starts jumping on different branches of the trees and winds up pulling this thing in. This thing's got to be, I don't know, 1,000 pounds or something. I don't even know how to estimate it. It's huge, okay? This thing looks huge. It looks like a small whale. This Lord of the Lake that he winds up catching, and again, he jumps around the different tree branches and winds up having the line wrap and uses it similar to the pulley fashion that I was explaining just a minute ago. So nonetheless, he can now take the hunter exam, and of course everybody in the town's impressed that he caught this. There's some mention about his father, who we presume has gone off, and become a hunter, and he's not seen him since. There's a brief interaction between himself and Mido-san, and she's talking about how your father went off and this and that, and basically like he abandoned you as a child to take the hunter exam. And Gon is like, he's like, oh yeah, isn't that great that he wanted to become a hunter so bad that he even abandoned his blood, his flesh and blood and his child. I didn't particularly agree with that. I don't know if that's been lost in translation a little bit, maybe from the manga originally or what, but that just as a parent myself, I was like, okay, I don't really know about that one. So nonetheless, though, she's kind of trying to talk him out of going, and he's dead set on wanting to become a hunter. So we kind of flash forward then to Gon. He's on the ship. He's saying his goodbyes, talking about he's going to be the greatest hunter in the world, and kind of turns around and sees these scowls and grimaces from everybody else that's on there, all these other prospective hunters, and they're like millions of people. We find out millions of people go to take this exam, the hunter exam, each year, and only a handful pass. So basically, it's kind of like an insult and a slap in the face to everybody else on the boat, because it's like, I'm going to be the greatest, right? But very much a tale of, probably the underdog that winds up rising to greatness. Although Gon, like I said, he seems very, very intelligent right off the bat. He has a lot of skills already acquired. For instance, he winds up going and kind of calling that there's going to be a storm before the storm actually hits. based on probably the weather patterns, the feeling in the air, everything else, waves, I don't know. But next thing you know, they're balls deep in a huge thunderstorm. And as this thunderstorm passes, or at least they get to the point where everything's fine, and they wind up riding this huge rogue wave. We meet the captain, who's this big red-nosed, kind of red-faced drunk, sipping on his whiskey or his liquor all the time, and he winds up riding this rogue wave and everything. Nonetheless, a few minutes later, once the storm has passed, the captain goes down into the quarters where everybody is, and everybody is pretty much laying around sick and not feeling well because of, obviously, this huge storm they've just been in, and the rocking of the ship, I'm assuming, hitting the waves. And the only three that are left standing is Gon, who's helping people. There's another blonde guy, and I'm not sure if it's pronounced Kurapika, because that's how they say it in Japanese, or Kurapika. You're gonna have to tell me if it's Kurapika or Kurapika. But and then we'll find out after this one goes up, obviously. So, and then the third person that we see is this kind of tall, lanky, wire-rimmed glasses fellow named in a suit named Liario. So those three are called to the captain's quarters because obviously they, did not get sick, and he wants to talk with them. He winds up revealing to them, first he asks them a question. He asks them why do they want to take the hunter exam. Gon, of course, answers, and the other two, they're hesitant to answer, they don't answer, they don't want to answer, they kind of choose not to, and the captain goes and reveals that, okay, that's fine, then you fail. And they're like, what? We're just on the way to the hunter exam. And he goes, no. All these people, I'm tasked every year with kind of weeding out some of the people. All those people that couldn't handle the storm over there, they're obviously not going to be able to handle, further steps in the hunter exam. They don't pass. You don't want to answer the question? You don't pass, right? So Liario and Kurapika wind up having to answer. And Kurapika is very much it's a vengeance type of thing, going after this clan, these maybe like bounty hunters or something, I'm not really sure, and is obviously going to become a hunter to be able to use some of the different the intel and things like that would be at a hunter's disposal. Liario claims that it's fortune and fame that he wants, and him and Kurapika, they kind of butt heads to begin with. Kurapika's real quick of wit and doesn't really show respect to Liario. Liario seems like kind of a stiff, sort of pompous asshole, just my initial impression of him. Yeah, because he's saying you got to address me as Liario-san. Anyway, he winds up going and they threaten each other and wind up walking out, And the captain goes and says something to the effect of, hey, let's go, come back here, let's get them. And Gon says, no, my aunt or whoever this parental figure is, Mito-san. Mito-san used to always tell me that, to learn a person, you have to learn why they're angry. To get to know a person better, you have to know what's angering them first. And that's very good to think about because, you and I can have different ideals and different thought processes on things, but we can still learn why each other's pissed off about certain things or negative about things. We can still be friends at the end of the day. Many people don't take the time to find out why the other person's angry. It may not even be that the anger is directed towards you. It may be towards a belief system that you have or towards something that they think you stand for, Sometimes it's just a mistake. Sometimes it's just that they're having a bad day, So it's a very, very cool lesson that we learn initially about just sort of, hey, listen, let them go know a little bit about each other first, and maybe they can wind up working out their differences by finding out why each other's really pissed off to begin with, So I thought it was a cool lesson. And anyway, then it goes and it takes us out onto the deck shortly after that. It's all hands on deck that are still not sick, or that are not sick from the storm, because there is a huge water spout that's coming towards them. The captain's going to take the wheel, and he's telling everybody else do this and that, obviously with the sails, so they can get away from this water spout, right? And they have very, very little time. So we wind up seeing Kurapika and Liario, and they're out on the deck, and they're about to go. Liario pulls out a switchblade. Kurapika pulls out these sticks. It looks like staffs. I don't know, shortened like batons almost. And they're about to go toe to toe. They wind up going and seeing this deckhand though. That was there. He was actually being made fun of, being picked on by some other of the crew members. It looked like, and I think his name is Matsuo. Anyway, they wind up seeing him kind of going as a wave goes and hits and thrusts the boat one way or the other, kind of goes flying past them, and they both in unison stop their bickering with each other and go to reach for this kid and grab him, and they just miss him, and it looks like he's gonna go overboard. All of a sudden though, you see Gon come flying in like Superman, man. Just comes jumping in, doesn't think about his own safety or himself, and grabs this kid's feet, and he's going over the edge too, and Liario and Kurapika wind up grabbing onto Gon's feet, and they're able to pull him up, thus saving both of them. After the storm passes, though, on the next day, I guess it is, you know, it's sunny out now, and it's sometime later. This cabin boy or deckhand winds up coming over, going to thank Gon and really everybody for saving his life. And Gon gets kind of gets some shit from Liario and Kurapika, and they're like, we don't know each other. Like, how did you know that we were gonna grab you, you know, and save you? And he's like, I didn't. And I really like that mentality, because it's like, hey, listen, it's all or nothing, you know. I mean, if you didn't react and we would have both died, so be it. But in my mind, it's kind of like I'm not going to see somebody in peril and not go to give everything to help them and hold back. For some people, it's an instinctual thing to help. It's not a, oh, well, I can help, but only to a certain point, because then I may get hurt or something may happen. So I kind of like that for his mentality. The mentality was, I'm going to try to save this guy no matter what. And you guys, you know, obviously working together and then saving me while I saved him. Hey, great, added bonus. If not, I'm cool. I'm completely good with, you know, dying if it was to try to help somebody else. And that's the lesson that I took from it anyway, is that it's kind of all or nothing, you know. So very, very cool stuff. The episode ends up shortly after that, though. It's nice because you wind up seeing that Kurapika and Liario, they wind up kind of kissing and making up, so to speak. Kurapika looks very feminine, but as I understand, it's referred to as a male. So, but nonetheless, and it sounds like the voice actor might be female as well. But nonetheless, they make up and kind of wind up seeing eye to eye, you know. It was basically just a, hey, we're angry and pissed off about some other things, and we're butting heads right now. We're not knowing anything about each other. So I thought it was a good lesson for the first episode of this series. And then also, too, with Gon, you wind up seeing that, you know, his selfless action forced them to use teamwork and to help and work and put aside their petty differences to help another and save a life in this case. So anyway, the drunk red-faced captain comes and he's like, hey, anyway, so this is all a test and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? You three passed, right? So I'm going to drop you off at the port and get you on your way to the Hunter exam. And that's how the episode ends. Very, very cool for a first episode. I'm certainly looking forward to doing these reviews. And really, I guess my episode question for you, brothers and sisters, are, you know, what are your thoughts, or what were your thoughts when first seeing this? I understand that there was an adaptation of this that came out and then was canceled after a certain amount of episodes, because everybody has said to go with the 2011 version. Madhouse started it from the beginning, and they've done it right. And so far, like I said, I'm very interested, I'm intrigued, and I can't wait to see the next one. So, but let me know what your thoughts are, brothers and sisters, on that first episode. Leave it in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation.
This one is for all the boob lovers out there. If you like boobs, or you're just a human being, go over and check out my Facebook and Instagram pages for more boobs and human beings.